Hey guys, I'm Ashley.
I'm Sam.
I'm Isata.
And welcome back to the Penguin Podcast. We're gonna be talking about some, what do you say, chisme? How do you say that?
Gossip.
Some gossip that's going around social media.
Yes. So there's this story that went viral not too long ago on social media because it has people thinking. There's this man named Ivan who, I'll give you guys a background. There's this man named Ivan. He's a Russian judge, and he was a Russian judge, and this happened quite a long time ago. But his death and like things about his death has just resurfaced on social media, and basically, it was just kind of talking about how he led a life of like trying to please others, and on his deathbed, he kind of did a 180. Personality wise, he kind of just was like, mean to everybody and And the one of the things that he said on his deathbed was like, I did it all wrong. And so from that, it has everybody thinking like, is life worth living if we're all just gonna die in the end? Like the story that we're about to tell you is gonna we're gonna tell you guys like the decline, like from where he first started to die into his like death.
Yeah, so just a little heads up, these names are like super hard to like say.
Yeah, they're Russian.
So, but let's start off first. Like I saw something about his wife who's called Praskovia, whatever her name is. But basically, like she came back early from a play, and she was telling Ivan, how like she wanted to send Gerizim away. Praskovia wanted to send Gerizim away, but like Ivan told her like no, like
Gerizim, by the way, is Ivan's personal like butler servant,
servant, whatever. And so then Ivan basically was like telling Praskovia like that he didn't want to send him away, like that how about like she leaves, basically like telling her like to leave because he's not gonna send him away. Anyway, so basically he sends him away, right? And I feel like that's his way of like saying that he like doesn't want to rely on nobody, because I mean he was relying on his servant anyways, right? But because he's basically dying and he's going through so much pain and suffering, like I feel like him sending Gerizim away, like he's basically saying like how he doesn't want to depend on people to rely on his pain or like.
Yes. So then there was this other piece that kind of surfaced.
Let's go back. I'm so sorry.
After that, there was kind of this other piece about the story that surfaced, and it was like I'll tell you guys how he got hurt. Like he was putting up curtains in his new apartment. He fell off the ladder onto his side, his hip area. I know, it was really weird. Like the way he started to die was very weird. It was like he fell, hit his hip, and he was never the same after that. He ended up getting really sick. Like his body started deteriorating. He was sent to his deathbed like a quickness. Like it was just such a mystery. It's even a mystery still today, like how this man really did like come to die, because it's like you don't just fall and die. Like that's weird, especially because the fall wasn't a high fall. Like, but he was kind of old though. So that was kind of one of the things, like, that's kind of the background of, like, how he started to decline, was, like, he fell, and that, I think for me, that kind of was, like, a big thing for him, because it's, like, I led this huge life of, like, I was a judge, I gave my family everything they could have wanted, I was respected in the community, and this one little thing took me out. Like, it was, like, kind of crazy, like, you do all this living, and, like, you do all this stuff for other people, and one little incident can just, like...
And because he was going through so much pain, like he was prescribed so many medicines and everything, like that he eventually took like this one, like, is it a drug or is it a medicine? It's called like opium.
It's a drug, but it was used in a medical
like way because of the pain that he was going through, right? And basically he like comes to terms that he has this like dream where he like falls, or he's being pushed into like a deep black sack. And like eventually he like wakes up, but I don't know what you guys think, but I feel like him dreaming that was kind of like, because you know like how psychology connects with like your dreams and like sometimes like your wants, like, or like your fears,
unconscious desires.
And I feel like his dream had to do with like a fear and a desire to fall into the sack, which like symbolized kind of like death. And like I feel like this, like, despite how much struggling he like went through, he eventually like he breaks through the sack and he woke up.
Yeah. So kind of like the story behind that moment as well was like he had been going through so much pain. Like he went through 3 days of consecutive like struggle and pain and agony where he was just screaming. Like, everybody in the house, nobody could make him feel better. Like, he was just literally screaming for 3 days straight. Like, people couldn't get sleep. Like, I think even, like, somebody described it as, like, it was just literally the sound of hell embodied in somebody, you know? And kind of, like, that was ended by, like she said, him passing out and having, like, not this dream, but kind of like a lucid, like, experience where he was just forced into a black hole and he didn't want to go. But what, like, kind of caused him to was, like, he finally was pushed, and when he was pushed, it was, like, this bright, huge beaming light in front of him, and when that happened, all of his pain went away. He stopped screaming, like, and he was just okay. And kind of he woke up, and when he woke up, his son and his wife was in the room with him, and his son was, like, kissing his hand, his wife was standing over him crying, and he kind of knew in that moment, like, he needed to relieve the pain of his family, but he just didn't know how. And yeah, so that was kind of like one of the pivotal moments in his decline of death, and that's kind of like, he kind of sat there and pondered with himself for a really long time, and then, like, his wife and his son ended up, like, leaving the room. Like, he asked him to leave the room, and he continued to think about, like, life and everything, and he finally decided that in his death, like, or in this time of, like, struggle and trial and everything, the only thing that he felt like he could do to better his family was die.
Yep.
So he kind of finally let himself go. Like, he was holding on for so many days for so long, and that also kind of is what caused a lot of, like, controversy in the media about the story. Was like, is mind over matter really that big? Like, can you really keep yourself alive by the will to live? And when he finally decided, like, in his mind, okay, I'm ready to let go, he died almost instantly, and it was, like, crazy. Like,
he really was, like, using all that he had left. And back to the point where he was, like, surrounded by his family and friends and whatnot in his last couple days. Like, he literally said it feels like he's at the bottom of the ocean or under the earth, which I think that speaks volumes, because you're around all these people that you're supposed to love, but
and they care for you.
Yeah, exactly. And you still got this resentment towards him, especially since he's been sick. He's been, like, very rude to his wife and stuff, but, like, it's just hard to see him this way. Like, it will be hard to see a loved one in that way. So I just think, yeah,
I was, like, kind of thinking, like, I feel like Ivan wasn't, like, like, he was, obviously he knew he was dying and he was in his deathbed, and obviously, like, it was already hard for him, but, like, by the way that he treated his family, he could have honestly had some type of empathy for his family. And the fact that his family was also going through pain, especially his wife, the way that he treated his wife was just unacceptable. Like, he rejected her all the time. Like, he couldn't even see her. He made her feel so bad. Like, he made her feel, like, a really bad way, I guess you could say. But I don't know, like, he could have thought about, like the pain that his wife was going. Like, his wife was gonna lose her husband, you know, but he wasn't, like, he didn't have.
I was just thinking about his suffering, basically.
Yeah, and another big thing about this story too was, like, the society that they were living in was very much like people cared heavily about the opinion of society. So everybody was kind of a people pleaser. Everybody wanted to have the best house and the best job and the most respect from everybody in their town, and
he
like
had that terribly.
Yeah, like, he literally, like, he fought so hard to look so good for other people. My big theory is just kind of like, you live your life in that kind of way where you just want other people to see you in such a high position. You just want other people to respect you so bad, and you want to be like, you know, today, in today's world, like, everybody has a Stanley, and everybody wants that Lululemon jacket, and everybody wants this, and, like, everybody wants this car and this, like, you know, technology, and it's just like, we all care how we're perceived, and then
individualistic. That's
exactly.
He lacks that very bad.
Like, if you want those things, want them because you want them.
Exactly.
Put your own happiness first instead of trying to fit into the crowd.
Yeah, and I think that was his problem too. Like, if he hadn't wanted what he felt like everybody else wanted, then maybe his life would have been better. Maybe he would have fell in love with his own wife or found love of his own. Maybe he would have been closer to his kids. Maybe he would have cared that his daughter had a proposal finally. Like, there was just so many little, like, things in the story where it was just, like, obvious of, like, your life really only matters if you kind of live for yourself. And I don't mean like be selfish. I mean like live for your desires, live for your wants. Like don't live based off of other people.
And that's like the main thing that we got from like this whole like drama that was going on social media, like, how do you truly live, you know? Like, and to him, it was kind of like he saw the way that others were living, and that's why he wanted to, like, he, you know, like, it influenced him to live that way. I mean, he saw that people were achieving things. They were getting a house. They looked happy, right? But, like, at the end of the day, like, money doesn't buy you happiness. And the little stuff that you think,
materialistic items, anything with monetary value,
and
it doesn't matter.
I feel like at the end he was just looking at his life like, dang, like, what did I do? Like I wasn't happy at the end. Like, he realized that his life was pretty much basically like full of emptiness. And I feel like it made him like rethink, like, so how do you actually live? Like, how do you actually achieve happiness?
Yeah, I think, okay, like, last question too. Do you guys, like, your actual point of view on this, because this is kind of what the big question was, like, do you feel like it's necessary, like, not necessary, but like it's worth living if we're all just gonna die?
It is worth living because you only live once. If you're gonna only live once, you should live that life to the fullest.
How you want to live it.
Exactly. And plus, you don't know when you're gonna go, so it's good to, like, put effort into your life in every single aspect.
Yeah, like,
when you can, because you don't know when it's gonna be taken away.
There's
from you.
times when I think about it, and, like, you know, like, sometimes when we judge a person for what they do or something, or for the way that, like, they put something on, but it's kind of like they're happy with it. They don't feel insecure about it. They don't feel like, you know, they don't really care, and it's just like I wish I could be them sometimes. Like, I wish I could
just carefree, like, they don't care what anyone thinks, but we're all human. What can we do, really?
I kind of think so too. I think my big one though is, like, I feel like we were all put here to advance the earth. Like, think about it. If in the time of, like, when we all started and everything, if somebody wasn't curious enough and, like, determined enough to, I don't know, make a stick and make it sharpen, like, and go kill a, like, buffalo or something, you know, like, whatever somebody did, that, like, curiosity, I think, kept us going. And I feel like this story kind of, like, the man Ivan kind of was big on, like, if only I had lived. But I think also, like, when he first was dying, he was just kind of like, okay, what is the point in my life if I really didn't do anything? And I just kind of feel like that's kind of a pessimistic way to look at it. It's just like, well, at least you got to do this. Like, at least you got to see, you know, the world advance. You had a family. Like, you may not have felt as connected to them as you wanted to, but I was
grateful about it.
Yeah, and I feel like Ivan, like, eventually, I guess he was sitting in his deathbed, like, he realized that, like, this wasn't him. Like, I mean, in the beginning, he wasn't like this. He wasn't a people pleaser. He was, you know, like, when he was laying there, I feel like what it says is that he was, like, basically, like, thinking about the best moments of his life.
Yeah. So this story was, like, something that people went crazy over because, you know, people don't really like to think about death, but I think thinking about not even death, but just, like, what is the purpose of living? Like, it's necessary to live for you. And I think that was kind of a big takeaway from me from this story too. Like, I know I'm a people pleaser, and I never want to get to the point where I feel like I'm living for other
strictly
people.
For other people.
Yeah, like, that's horrible. But yeah, so he ended up dying. There's not really much on his family after his death, but basically in his death he kind of felt freed because he finally did something for him and for his family, and something that would be beneficial for all of those around him. Oh, another thing too is, like, a day or two before he did pass, his wife had, like, a priest come over to their house and give him communion, and, like, immediately when he ate the communion and he repented from his sins, he felt changed. He felt changed. He felt like he could live. He felt like he might get better and everything. And then the craziest thing was too, he, like, immediately turned over and looked at his wife after taking that and feeling that, like, glorious moment. He looked at her and he was like, you know what, life isn't worth living.
Yeah, because when he took the communion or whatever, he was like, I want to live, like, I want to continue to live, like, give me a second chance or whatever. But then he turned around and he looked at his wife and he was like,
and he was like, nah, never mind.
That's
crazy.
What does he have against his wife?
I kind of want to know that too. Like, there's not really much about that.
Like if you really don't want your wife, divorce her.
Was he actually attracted to her? Did he actually have feelings for her?
Guys, like, I would love to know if they had, like, a couples counselor, and, like, what would a couple counselor, like, notes be on this couple?
But
like,
looking at your wife and saying, like, I end my life here because I don't want to be with you, like,
that's terrible.
No, that's crazy. I mean, eventually when he was on his deathbed and he, like, looked up at her, he did feel sorry for her, and, like, seeing, like, all the pain, like, and everything he did put her through. But, like, y'all, he was so bogus to her. Like, he was bitter to her in his last little days or whatever. I would hate to
in
be
the
her.
position that you're in, you should especially be grateful for everyone around you, because at any moment you could be gone, and you want to act nasty towards these people.
Yeah, but that was kind of one of our things too. Like, he was just so resenting of his own life and the way he lived it. Like, he took it out on other people, which I fully don't disagree with either. Like, it's not their fault necessarily that he lived the life in, like, his life in the way he did, but they were the direct product of, like, him living that type of life. So I kind of see it both ways. So, like, yes, resent people, but also, you know, in your resentment, realize that there is love. My sock's so dirty. In your resentment, realize that there is love.
She's like touching the screen with her socks right now
because it keeps going dark. Anyway, yeah. So
there was something that you said at the end that was really good, and then you ended it. Do you remember what it was?
It was that she asked the question. She was like, "In the moral."
Oh yeah. So basically,
but you already answered.
You already said it and answered it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we did. But that's the question we wanted to pose for you guys, whoever watches this podcast. What?
We're still in
That's the question we want to pose for you guys, whoever watches this podcast. Do you feel like life is worth living if we're all just gonna die in the end? And do you feel like money does buy happiness?
And
those are things to
ponder.
Thank you for watching our podcast.
Thank you. We out.
Watch for the updates for the next one.
First and last.
Bye, guys.
And actually, yeah. All right, man. Welcome back to Literary Lady. So basically,
this guy died, and him and his wife hated each other. That's the end.
Like,
come on,
guys. We just took a 13-minute video.
No, like what she doesn't understand, and maybe even put this in the bloopers, Miss Guggenbach. What you don't understand is
it was so good. It was such good back and forth. It was like it was actually real life. And then for the end, Ozzy like got her foot and like closed the thing.
Blame it on Ozzy, please.
Isaiah deleted our video.
If this video isn't the best, it's because we are repeating ourselves.
We gave our best in the first one.
The first one was actually the number one. Like, this is not gonna be better or anything, but
sorry.
It's because of Ozzy. She deleted the whole, and it was 18 minutes. Like,
it was so good, Miss.
And here we are, 5:41.
I know you don't want to sit there and watch 18 minutes of us, but
right.
I know you don't, but here we go again.
We're gonna try to
like, you outside of the bikini year round.
We in a process. We just have to explain.
So wait, peek in. Say hi.
Look at the culprit. Come here.
No, I don't want to.
No, culprit right here. Miss Guggenbach. She deleted our video, and now we're having to re-record. So sorry, like I just said it. This is subpar quality.
Y'all gonna put all this in